This week on Real Dudes Podcast, we dive into the world of Abzu, an indie game developed by Giant Squid Studios. After that, we'll discuss some indie gaming news, and then talk to Karrington about his thoughts of Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn. Which is better of the two? All that and more on this episode of Real Dudes Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Real Dudes Podcast, actually episode 30. We've made it to episode 30. That is incredible. With me, I've got none other than Mr. Karrington.
Hey. And by the way, when I say ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. We have to throw that in there because we made it 30 episodes.
Yeah, that's incredible because I remember, I don't know if you read the article or it was Caleb or someone back when we were on like episode 6, and you all said that episode 8 seems to be a stopping point for a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, so
and look,
we've made it to 30, and I thought we were not going to last there for a little while when we hit the early teens.
Like a 6-month break.
Yeah. Hiatus, thank you.
Yeah, it got real slow then. But yeah, we're here in the audio world of podcasting still to talk about indie games, dude things, technology, what have it. We're here to talk about it.
I mean, it used to be tech, TV, and games, but now you just graduated to just games.
Yeah. And food.
Well, oh man, we haven't talked about food in a long time.
Oh, there's a lot of good things that are out that we have not talked about.
We should maybe we should. That.
Yeah,
interesting maybe we fact, should. The number 2 people that follow us are foodies. Number 1 is, of course.
What do you mean?
You can see. I looked on Twitter one time, a list of the people that tend to follow us. Number 1 is, of course, like technology and gaming type of people that follow us. Number 2 is foodies.
I think that we really gained the hearts of those followers when we talked about the Whopperito and the mac and Cheetos.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, was it something like mac and cheese Cheetos? That's what they were from Burger King. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to talk about food again. Reach that audience again. I'm sure they're wanting us to do more food.
I'm pretty sure the only people that are listening right now are probably that audience.
I think so. Just waiting for that
probably
next
lost everyone
review.
else.
Like, when are they going to do food again? I keep listening. What are these indie games?
Next year we'll dedicate one show all about food.
Let's do it.
We'll do that. We'll make it a spinoff. Anyways, so in the mini episode that we just released recently, I talked about Abzu, a game that was developed by Giant Squid Studios. And I picked it up on Black Friday, and I've had the chance to play through it over the last week. It took me about about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to play through it and beat it. Abzu is a adventure game where you play as this diver, and basically the way that I looked at it was you're exploring different levels of the ocean, because I think when you start out, you're almost at the very top layer of the ocean, and then the further and further you go in the game, you get deeper and deeper into the ocean. You get to see different creatures that live in the ocean. Throughout this gameplay, there is this great white shark that is following you, and you're kind of swimming along with them, and you're kind of unfolding a story as you go along. You start running into ancient ruins and murals that kind of tell a story of ancient civilization and their connection with the ocean. It's a very beautiful game. Something that I didn't know until recently was that a couple of the people that worked on Journey also played a hand in Abzu. So definitely a very artsy, beautiful game. The soundtrack was great. I don't know. It was a fun experience, and we'll go more into discussing it. But Karrington, what do you think about it?
So first off, let me say I've known about this game for about a year and a half now. My brother. So little backstory. Me and my brother surprised our father with a PS4 and No Man's Sky because he loves flight. We grew up in a family full of like flight sims and space flight sims and all this stuff. So when No Man's Sky was getting all the hype and stuff, me and brother like, hey, let's surprise our dad with a PS4 and No Man's Sky. So my brother got the PS4 about a week or so before No Man's Sky came out, and he bought Abzu for some reason along with the PS4. And then I played a little bit of it at his house, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So now that we're doing it for the podcast, it is definitely not what I expected now that I've finished it, which is a good thing. And I thought it was a very beautiful game, like you were saying, and I was really captured by the art style and the music.
Can I ask what did you expect going into it? What expectations did you have?
I was going into it after playing the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes beforehand. I was just expecting something simple, like because almost like a third-person experience, kind of like the games we've been playing, like when it comes to like the Turing Test or Rhyme, or what was the space game we did?
Oh, it's right on the tip of my head.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Like we've been playing a lot, like or Tacoma, or What Remains of Edith Finch. We've been playing a lot of those games recently, so I was expecting the same, like along those lines, just in a third-person perspective, not first-person.
Okay.
Like there were a couple puzzles that were in there which I was like did not expect. And they're not hard puzzles by any means, but they were just enough to keep me interested to see where everything was going.
Yeah, kind of. Thinking about that with the puzzles, I do better with the games that are kind of like, here's point A, get to point B. Mm-hmm. This game wasn't really like that because it would put you into these jet streams that you would swim through, and then you'd have to swim through the fish to get like additional boost, or I don't really know what that did. I think it gave additional boost to swim faster, and then it would dump you into this open area.
Yeah,
and then you kind of had to figure out what you had to do there by pressing X. And
those sequences, the jet stream sequences between the music and the flow of it and everything, were probably my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah, they were. I think they were the high point of the game as well. But when it dumped me into those open areas, I kind of got a little anxiety just because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. So sometimes I would swim to the very edge of the map, because there's no map, but like the edge of the world, and then your character would flip around and turn himself around. But then eventually I realized what was going on in the area and what I had to do, which made it a little easier, but it gave me a little anxiety, kind of just dumping me in there and not giving me kind of a clue as to what I need to do, because some of the areas are pretty big.
Yeah, they are, and it doesn't, like, the only story you get is basically what you experience and through those ancient murals you were talking about earlier. And I'll also say, like, the first time you see the great white shark and he blows up your little like robot companion, it jumped. Like, it made me jump because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't know if, I guess we could spoil it a little bit, but maybe just a little bit. The jaw-dropping moment, I think there's two, was after two of the jet streams that would spit you out into like, I guess, the deep blue ocean, and you would see these giant sperm whales.
Oh my gosh!
Kind of swim slow.
That sequence.
And you're swimming. Yeah, just the echoes of their singing and the music playing and just the atmosphere is just it was so cool.
And when that one sperm whale like literally comes right up next to you and is like, you're looking at it and it's looking down at you, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like a Zen moment right here. This is cool.
Yeah. It's speaking of Zen moments, they had the meditation in the game. Did you ever do that where you'd see the little shark statue and it would say press window button to meditate? So all it would do is you would sit on the shark statue, and it would pan off onto different fish swimming in the area.
What? No, I never did that. Yeah. One thing I did do is went to, like, there's different corals that you can find, and you can free different or specific types of fish that are relative to that part of the ocean you're in.
Yeah. You get an achievement if you meditate and you're watching a fish and they eat another fish.
Oh, and I gotta replay the game.
Cool. Yeah, it's got. I think it's replayable.
Yeah.
I think there's quite a bit of stuff that you can do that you haven't done in the game.
Yeah, there's a few collectibles. Like there's the seashells you can collect. I don't know what they do, but you can collect them.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. I collected a couple of those. Um, so I guess I kind of want to spoil this a little bit.
I don't mind because, like I
Okay.
said, it went in a direction I wasn't expecting, but in a good way. And it, to me, really defines how I will relay it to people who ask me about this game.
Yeah. All right. So, um, if you don't want Abzu spoiled, I will say skip the next 5 minutes.
Okay. It's
So
red.
to the 15-minute mark.
Yep.
Starting now.
Okay.
So the shark, I think, plays a relevant character in the game. I didn't think it would at first. I thought you'd be running from him, but eventually you kind of develop this relationship with the shark.
Yeah, because he starts off as being a jerk for eating your robot friend.
Right.
And so you end up chasing him, it feels like, through the sequence of the oceans and things like that. And so I was thinking that you would end up either in some sort of fight or a way to kill this shark who seems to be
Right.
menacing and scary. And every time I saw him, I would get a little anxious. Some anxiety would build up. And I was legitimately like afraid whenever I saw him.
Yeah, because they're predators, and you think that you're gonna get eaten by them, but then you realize that he's going after the antagonist of the game, I guess you would call it.
Yes.
Which the further that you dive into the ocean, and as the story progresses, you come to find out these like ancient mechanisms, I guess. If you get too close, they blow up by you, and disrupt your diving. But the further and further you dive in, you eventually get into this facility, this like research facility or something. I don't know what it is, but you get to this giant triangle with a eye, and it's I don't know. I don't even know what it's toxic to the ocean. It's causing the ocean to wither up and stuff. Because as you're going through the game, you are unlocking these little portals that add life to the ocean.
Yeah, and like I said, you also, when you find these coral reefs, you're also freeing fish and releasing them into the wild as if they've been trapped or dead altogether. So that way you're bringing them back into the ocean.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I thought going into the game, it was kind of like this diving exploration game, but it really goes into the story of what this shark is doing, because he's going right for the eye. He ends up going and he gets killed for it.
Yeah, which I was really sad, and that was a really touching moment between your character and that shark as he pretty much takes his last breath, and you almost die in the process as well.
I sat there and just stared at him for a minute, and I hit the Sonic button, or the button that pulsates. How do fish communicate? Whatever, thinking that I could start his heart again and maybe bring him back, but he died, and it made me feel bad.
But little did you know
feels.
That was not the last time you would see him. No.
And such a cool thing was the very last sequence as you're going through. After you get destroyed by that sentinel. I don't know, what would you call it?
I almost thought
the pyramid.
I always thought, and pyramid's good. Yeah, because it goes into how I would describe the game. Yeah.
The Master Pyramid, after you die, you come to find out that you're not a human that's diving. You're actually a robot, which I didn't know. And then that made me think, oh, well, obviously the shark wouldn't hunt, a robot. I mean, I guess they would attack a robot, but they would go for something that has blood more. So it kind of, to let you know, well, this is why you're fighting the shark. This is what you're trying to run from. And eventually you bring the shark back. The part that made me grin the most was flying through the water with a shark and jumping out of the water and doing flips and stuff. And every time you flipped, it would barrel roll and stuff. And it was just music was blaring, and I don't know. It was such a cool
It's a very
experience.
touching moment.
Yeah,
And of course,
sure.
eventually you destroy the evil that is whatever it is. But
yeah,
in my opinion, like how I would describe it, you know, I almost feel like it was a metaphor almost to how man and technology is ruining the ocean. And only we ourselves, because like you said, the dude's a robot that you play as. Only we ourselves have
Yeah.
the power to bring back what has been destroyed in a way. And that's how
Yeah.
I took the whole storyline in itself. And those murals and things like that really point to a world that is thriving and really surviving. And then ultimately they ruin themselves.
yeah. I completely agree with that. That's really well put.
And that's what really surprised me about the game itself. Was after I finished it, I'm like, I need a minute to kind of process this because there's deeper meanings here, and I need to think about it. And this was on Friday when we were supposed to record a couple like hours later after I finished it. I'm like, I don't know if this is the right time I can record.
just let it sink in for a minute.
Exactly. So I'm glad we waited a couple days.
Yeah, me too. The cool thing about this, I guess you could really consider this game a 2017 release.
Kinda, yeah.
Because it was released August 2nd, 2016, but it got a physical release on January 31st, 2017. But that was for PlayStation and Xbox One, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was originally released 2016 for PlayStation and Steam, but it's nice to know that it came out later this year. So I might chat about it on our favorite games this year.
All right.
Which will be the next episode.
I don't blame you. And can I say, I mean, it was Giant Squid Studios who developed it, but when I saw that 505 Games published it, I was immediately excited because 505 Games they publish some really good games. They have a really good track record, in my opinion. So I knew I was in for a treat when I saw it was published by 505.
So before we finish talking about this, just so you know and everyone knows, the word Abzu, which I thought was a bizarre name, means water to know.
That makes a whole lot of sense, and I think really drives home the point of what the game is.
Yeah, I agree. So do we give this a rating?
Yeah, but I know we've talked about a universal alcoholic scale in the past, and we have not yet truly discussed established it.
Yeah.
I know we said bourbon would be like at least the pinnacle, but we haven't like narrowed down what kind of bourbon or drinks would be, perfection and what would be, not so perfect.
Yeah.
But a game like this, in my opinion, gosh.
I'll be honest, think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm thinking an 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right, an 8.
Yeah. So I don't know what an 8 on a bourbon scale would be, or alcoholic drink beverage would be.
I would say, like, for me personally, that'd be a whiskey sour. Not as far as taste goes, but it's really hard to screw up a whiskey sour, and they're really good, smooth, relaxing, and that's how I would describe this game.
Yeah, I agree. That is a good choice for this game. Something that I forgot to bring out that I did want to talk about is swimming games or swimming in games has always been scary. Like, because I don't think any game has really truly perfected it.
That's fair. There have been some games where I felt like it was fun, like Majora's Mask. I thought swimming was fun, but only if you were the Zora.
Yeah.
That's the only one that comes to my mind immediately, actually, right now.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of games that don't do it well. I don't think that this game is maybe perfected it, but I think that the swimming in this game was really good.
Yeah, I agree. There were a couple of odd control issues, I thought, but nothing that would hinder the experience in any way.
Yeah.
And I do like the
So,
animation a lot. The animation was beautiful. Like,
oh yeah,
especially there were sequences where you had to come out of water, and whenever he like went back into the water, he would dive like a professional diver.
yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that part too. I totally forgot
Yeah,
about
it's just the
that.
little things that they did right. I felt like.
Yeah. Oh man, the end of that game was beautiful. Anyways, so that is Abzu, uh, developed by Giant Squid Studios, published by 505 Games. If you haven't checked it out, uh, please do so. It's well worth. I think it's $15 retail now on digital. I paid $10 for it over Black Friday sale, and you can pick it on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam.
Indeed. And for those of you who would like to know, just for reference, like I said, 505 Games published it, and they have a really good track record. Just listen to some of the games they have released and published, being Sniper Elite 3, Payday 2, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Terraria, um, and they also published the early Cooking Mamas. So that's just a small taste of their portfolio.
Yep. Excellent. All right, so let's dive into some indie gaming news. Pun intended. Um, let's see here. Give me a second. All right. So, recently, Kid Trip released on the Switch,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and I've had a chance to beat it and start playing through it again. I played it about half the game with the controller on my TV, and the other half of the game portable. And I've got to say, it plays excellent on the portable platform. TV, it plays good, but I feel like there was a latency between the button pushing and the like actions of Kid Trip. Did you play on TV, Carrington?
Yes, I did both portable and TV as well. I will say just huge shout out to developer Four Horses, Mick Waits, who we've interviewed. So if you haven't listened to that interview, I would highly recommend going back to listen to that interview. Mick did a fantastic job porting it from the 3DS to the Switch because I had no idea how it would look like on the television. And I must say, on the TV, the game looks fantastic, especially when you think about the original screen size was like, you're talking about a 3DS. It's just a couple inches.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great, especially on like a 50-inch TV.
Yeah, exactly. And then I do agree. I felt like the controls lagged a little on. I don't know if it was. I meant to test out the Joy-Cons on TV, see if that made a difference because I only did the Pro controller on the TV. But in handheld mode, everything seemed to run crisp and smooth. And if you're gonna buy this game, I would highly recommend the Nintendo Switch version over the 3DS.
Okay, why is that?
I just feel like it's everyone has a Switch nowadays, and it looks a lot better. And I think, with the exception of the docked mode, it also plays better, in my opinion. Yeah. And I was more drawn to playing it on the Switch than I was the 3DS.
Yeah, same here. I think that's a huge accomplishment for Mick and Four Horses to be able to release a game on the Switch. I mean, that is so cool. And like I said, the game is fantastic, plays great. It's still very challenging, even more challenging when it is docked. But it doesn't mean you can still play just fine with it on the TV. I had a lot of fun playing it both ways. I died 449 times within 62 minutes of game playing.
Very nice.
But I took breaks in between that because it got frustrating.
Agreed. I have not finished it yet on the Switch. I've been really busy just with life and recording and just a whole lot of other things. But I can't say I'm at least 60% done with it.
Yeah, I think you said you're World 3.
2, I think.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got one more world left. It's that last World 4 is.
It's yeah.
Rough.
Yeah, I remember doing it on the 3DS, but yeah. But I can say like definitely check it out. Kid Trip. Huge shout out to Mick and Four Horses, and even like I cannot express enough how thankful I am that Mick was able to supply us with 2 codes, so that way we could sit back and play it and talk about it. Like Mix
Yeah,
the man.
yeah. I want him to make more games. I want him to bring us more games on the Switch, and you know, just keep being himself because he is one awesome dude.
Yeah, agreed. So just everyone, if you're listening and if you have a Nintendo Switch or 3DS, go check out Kid Trip. I can't talk about it enough.
It's I don't know how much it is on 3DS, but I know for the Switch it's $3.99
There you go. It's cheap too.
right now. So
$3.99.
yeah,
Go
it's
check it
super
out
cheap
right now.
Yeah, Panzer Hearts. The guys that are making Panzer Hearts, they have a demo set up right now for people to play. If you have not checked the game out yet, be sure to do so. Basically, it is a World War II romance simulator. You play the role of a guy that is in the war, building tanks, working on tanks, and he's getting his heartstrings pulled by various ladies. I have yet to play the demo yet, but I am looking forward to checking it out. They got new artwork design for it, so it looks really good. I did check out some of the screenshots, but yeah, that is Panzer Hearts. You haven't played it yet, Carrington, have you?
No, I have downloaded it. I meant to play it in preparation for this episode, but I just did not get the chance to because of life, unfortunately. Yeah. But I will say a huge shout out to the developers for contacting us and letting us know that, hey, the demo's out and giving it to us. And also, just in case you guys were wondering, we did talk about it a few months ago on one of our mini episodes. So if you want to hear us talk about it, also we can, go back then, hear us talk about it. But yes, I definitely go check out Panzer Heart. That's PANZER HEART, Panzer Heart. The demo's out, trailers up on YouTube if you want to go check it out. You can tell there's a lot of work that went into this, and we really can't wait to check it out. Like I said, I apologize to the developers for contacting us and not being able for us on our part to check it out due to time constraints.
Yep. What remains of Edith Finch? I think we've talked about that once every episode.
At least, just how how I talk about Beyond Good and Evil at least once an episode. Yeah. You've talked about Edith Finch at least once an episode.
I swayed away from Inside and talking about Edith Finch. Really cool news. They are getting a physical release. And even cooler news, they are releasing a vinyl with it.
That's actually huge because I know publishing costs for physical releases are not cheap, let alone doing it with a vinyl release on top of that as well.
Yeah. So I am going to order that. I really want to add that to my vinyl collection. I think that game deserves extra money thrown at it because I loved it, and it was a really good story told, and there's not like a whole lot of gameplay that's going along with the game, but there are so many cool segments that are put into that, and a lot of love was
maybe a Switch release, maybe.
Maybe that would be awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe early next year.
Yeah, for sure. I hear any indie developers out there, if you're listening, try and get on the Nintendo Switch because most developers I hear from are saying that their games are doing fantastically well over on the Nintendo Switch right now.
Yeah. More exciting news. I'm super excited for this game. Hello Neighbor is releasing this month.
It's about dang time.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we can discuss this on the next episode. It is a first-person horror game.
That sounds about right.
You have from what I've seen, you have a neighbor that moves in across the street into this bizarre looking house, and you break into it, and it looks like a run and hide kind of game. You have to hide from him. Don't know much about the story. Graphics look cool. They look kind of like old school 3D, cartoony graphics, yet it still looks scary because you have to run and hide from this mustache monster. Your neighbor.
Yes.
He's got...
And the release is December 8th, so it's around the corner.
Yep. Some new indie titles coming out for the Switch. Well, maybe not new, but ported. The End is Nigh. The creators from Super Meat Boy, their most recent game is being ported to the Switch. It looks really cool. I have not played it yet, but I might pick it up for the Switch. And then Unepic, looks like a Metroidvania style game. / Dungeons and Dragons. Looks like a dungeon crawler, 2D side-scrolling game. That's all that I really know about it. I'm looking forward to seeing more about it. And then also, Night in the Woods Deluxe Edition is releasing on Xbox, PS4, and PC, and I think it is also on the Switch. I'm not 100% sure. But it is a raved game this year. Again, I have not played this one, but I've heard really good things about the game. I've heard a couple journalists say that it might be their game of the year, or at least their indie game of the year, and I definitely need to pick it up and try it out. Have you played it? Have you seen it, Carrington?
I have not seen it or played it yet.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll get back to you, audience, when we get a chance to play it. One of the big reasons I had not played it was I'm pretty sure it released originally on PS4 and not Xbox, and since I only had an Xbox, I haven't had a chance to try it out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that deluxe edition again releasing this month. That's all the news that I have. Carrington, is there anything else that you know about or want to add in?
Yes. So this is kind of mainstream gaming news, but I must say, I have to say this because I've tested it out and my mind is blown. So if you have an Amazon Echo, any Amazon Echo device, which I do have one, I have the original one that Amazon came out with, so Generation 1. You can, if you love and own Destiny 2, there is an Amazon skill that Bungie has released. It's official from Bungie. And you can tie it to your Amazon Echo device, and you can have it issue certain commands. And Nolan North, the guy who plays the Ghost, will respond with various things. So if you want to know how your clan is doing, if you want to send out invites, you want to know about lore, and just small things like that related to Destiny 2, all you got to do is hook up the skill and make sure that your Destiny or your Bungie.net account is tied to it, and you can start just issuing commands, and it's great. And if you wanted to, you can pre-order an actual Ghost that's a wireless speaker, which comes out here in about a week.
Awesome.
It's about $90, so I'm hoping I can buy it once I get paid and maybe hopefully test it out.
That's super cool.
It is really cool. And so yeah, if you have an Amazon Echo, I highly recommend you go out and get the Destiny 2 Ghost skill. You can tie it to your Amazon Echo, and Alexa does fantastic with it. It's a lot of fun, and I cannot rave about it enough of how amazing this thing is.
Yeah, that would be worthy of getting a video set up for that and just testing it out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I will soon.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun. Oh, it's so much fun. I'm excited to play Destiny 2 again.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely want to check that out.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Before we get into our discussion, let's take a quick break.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you like to rage quit? Sometimes we all do. Do you like to take a sledgehammer and smash right over your phone? Or do you like to take your phone and throw it right into your TV? How about do you like to take your phone and throw it into a fire? Yeah, we all like to rage quit sometimes. But thankfully, there's OtterBox. OtterBox offers a range of cases that fit every taste and lifestyle. Their cases use patented technology that provides superior protection for smartphones. With their innovative engineering group, dozens of patents, and robust sales and marketing teams, OtterBox is growing and expanding and plans to continue this trend. So, before you buy a phone accessory, make sure you check out OtterBox, and you can do that by going to Real Dudes Podcast /affiliates and clicking right on that OtterBox link.
Hey everyone, Karrington here, co-host of Real Dudes Podcast. I'm here to tell you about our new affiliate, Podbean. That's right, if you're looking to get into a podcast, you can get your first month service for free. You can do so by heading to the website, podbean.com/RDP, or using the promo code RDP, and you can get their first month's premium service for free. They are our personal podcasting host, and we love them. We wouldn't be here talking about it if we didn't love them so much. So head on over to podbean.com/RDP or promo code RDP and get that first month service for free. And as always, have a rad day.
We here at Real Dudes want to give a huge shout out to Guitar Man for letting us use his music on this episode. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud, and be sure to give him a follow on Twitter at I Am Guitar Man. That is GITARUMAN. Thanks, and let's get back to this episode.
We are back. Thanks for listening to our ads because they are awesome.
Yeah,
Karrington?
yeah. Yes, sir.
There's this little game called Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
It came out earlier this year, right around the time that Zelda Breath of the Wild came out.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Our two favorite indie titles.
Oh, yeah. Being an indie podcast, we only talk about indie games only.
What? You have both, and you've been playing Horizon lately. Why don't you give us your feelings on Horizon Zero Dawn and kind of like the comparison between the two?
Okay.
Because they were both compared pretty close, I guess,
pretty
to
heavily.
each other. Yeah.
So if you are not a Sony fanboy like myself, you will know that there has been a game out there called Horizon Zero Dawn. Basically, you play the role of Aloy. She is part of a tribe in a almost post-apocalyptic world. It's supposed to take place in like the 30th century. Basically, humans are stuck to various tribes. There are hints of what the world was like beforehand. So you see a lot of different, ancient ruins that are very highly technologically advanced. But man has driven themselves to this like very tribal way of living. And I haven't finished it yet because I'm still playing it, but I will say that humans do hunt animals, and there are, of course, one of the biggest drawbacks is there were basically robot dinosaurs, which they do hunt for various parts, as far as I can tell. And they have to be very careful with them because they have been going crazy lately. And that's been the biggest drawback the biggest hook as far as the storyline is concerned. Without giving too much away, because there's a lot that happens, even in the very beginning, that if you haven't played it, I won't spoil it. But the story is really good. I will say, so for Breath of the Wild, it was a first for the Zelda series to have not fully voice acted, but to have voice acting in it.
Right.
And a lot of people kind of, either you tolerated it or you straight out hated it. I was one who tolerated it. I thought there were a couple of things that were just really bad, but I thought there were other things that were just, it was enough.
Yeah.
I will say the voice acting in Horizon Zero Dawn is fantastic. The dialogue itself, however, can be a little cheesy at times, I guess, especially for something with such a huge development cost and high production value. I was kind of shocked at. It's not bad or anything like that. It's just there's a few parts where you're just kind of like, this is not like, it just doesn't sit right with you, at least for me, at least. Right. But I will say that the voice acting is fantastic. So I have nothing wrong to say about the voice acting itself. It's dialogue that I have problems with.
So voice acting, Horizon Zero Dawn 1, Breath of the Wild 0.
Yes. Hands down. I will say there are a few. So, in my opinion, I feel like Breath of the Wild was polished, like almost to a T, which is what Nintendo is really good at. And a reason why they delay their games so many times is to just polish it. Like the game was probably finished, 3 years ago. And then the other 3 years that this game was in development was probably just pure polish.
Yeah.
You can tell that Horizon Zero Dawn does not have the exact polish that it probably should, because the way like Aloy's hair, she's got long hair, and there are times where her hair, at least in my experience, just starts going crazy when she's just standing still, or the way the dinosaurs can react sometimes. as far as like after you kill them and things like that. They just don't act right as far as like physics are concerned. And it's just a couple of things that the engine just doesn't do right. I know it's a new game engine for that game, but I'm not knocking any means because it is a gorgeous game and it handles a lot of other things like fantastically.
Yeah.
There's just a couple odd things that happen. Not to say that Zelda doesn't have odd things that happen. It just doesn't have the polish that they probably could have spent another probably 6 months doing and fixing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I will.
Do you?
I will
go
say
ahead.
that Horizon Zero Dawn, since I've had my PS4, I've only had my PS4 a week, and there's already been like 3 or 4 updates for Horizon Zero Dawn. So they're updating it like crazy. So I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if my complaints that I'm talking about right now will be fixed soon.
Are fixed. Yeah. The combat. Which one do you feel is better?
It's a good question. Oh, they're so different.
I didn't mean to lay that heavy question on you, but
So
just kind of wondering.
Zelda has the aspect in games where you have your weapon. You can choose any weapon you want. You can grab it. You can use it, but it will break.
Right.
So there's a lot of variety to it. It forces you to learn a lot of different fighting styles, things like that. But the fact that the items break, so if you fall in love with a weapon, it will break. But it still has a very I don't know, if you're a fan of the Zelda series, the combat's not new to you in any way. And, it's about, locking onto an enemy with the camera and just basically reacting to
block
dodge and reacting to what they do.
Yeah.
In that case, I probably have to go with Horizon Zero Dawn on combat. I will say that using bows and because with Horizon Zero Dawn you pretty much use a bow and arrow. You have spears and things like that you can use as well, but the main combat is with a bow and arrow, and it's a lot of fun, and it does it really well. And there's a lot of different, you can set up traps for enemies and things like that. It's like, whoa, like it's just cool. It's just cool to do and see you execute something.
It sounds like you have a lot more variety with it.
Yeah, quite a bit. Because like I said, with Zelda, it's about locking onto the enemy with the camera itself and then reacting to it. With Horizon Zero Dawn, like I have to plan out, especially for like bigger creatures and things like that. You have to plan out ahead of time before jumping into combat.
Okay.
I mean, Zelda does that as well, but I think Horizon Zero Dawn does it a little bit better.
Okay. So I've only seen a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn. Does it from what I got, it kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter when you're fighting bosses and stuff. Have you had that experience or that feeling playing it? Like big bosses are
not
kind of
yet.
like Monster Hunter fights.
I have Monster Hunter on the Wii U. I haven't had a Monster Hunter-esque type moment yet.
Battle. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm still pretty early on into the story. I'd say I'm probably around 5 or 6 hours, and my sister just beat Horizon Zero Dawn. She said she probably spent about 40 hours into it, so I'm still very early into it.
Sounds about the same for Zelda.
Yeah, basically. I will say I do. So Horizon Zero Dawn is way more story driven than Zelda is, but I feel like Zelda is way more emotional with its story than Horizon is.
Okay.
I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Horizon Zero Dawn's story is better, but Zelda's is definitely way more emotional.
Does going back to your sister, did she play Zelda?
Yes. They have. So I got 3 Switches at launch, and one of my 3 Switches. No. One of my I got
Mr. Braggy
I got
Pants.
4 Switches at launch. And one of my 4 Switches
Oh my goodness.
went to my sister and her husband.
Okay. Did she have anything to say between the two?
Yeah. She said a lot. She loves Horizon Zero Dawn. She loves Zelda. And when I asked her to pick, she said she couldn't. And she said that's a really hard choice for her. And we're a very Nintendo-esque family, very Zelda. I shouldn't say very Zelda-driven family, but very Nintendo family. And so to say Horizon Zero Dawn, she could not pick between the two was big.
You say that you are a very Nintendo family?
Yes, very much so. My brother, my sister, and myself are very much Nintendo.
Who's better, Mario or Sonic?
I mean, you know what I'm going to say to that question. I'll have to ask my brother and sister that. I think
Okay.
I think they would say, oh gosh, I have no idea. I really have no
It's
idea
all right.
because they're
It's all right.
yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for them when they're not here.
So it's probably difficult for you to determine which is better, Zelda or Horizon Dawn. But from what I'm getting, they're both pretty close
Yes.
to like the same feelings that people are getting when they play them.
Yes. And if I was to choose game of the year, I would probably choose Zelda though at the moment.
Okay. Why? Now, why is that?
Between art and the kind of emotions it feels, it induces, I guess.
Okay.
And a lot of people think Zelda is popular because for nostalgia reasons. Like I said, when we weren't very Zelda-driven family as far as gaming is concerned, you know, I didn't play and beat even Ocarina of Time until I was in my early to mid-teenage years, and that was the first Zelda game I played. I had no idea who Link was, really, growing up. So I don't think if you play Zelda, it invokes a lot of nostalgia feelings because it's so different. It's the fact that Zelda redefined, or Breath of the Wild redefined what Zelda can become. And there was a lot of things in the game that Nintendo did not talk about that was in the game. Like the way different things can react to each other. I mean, there are literal puzzles that the game does not teach you how to solve that require you to conduct electricity. It's like small things like that to me that make it amazing. And I also feel like, you know, freaking dragons. I mean, what better way can you put a game? I freaked out when the game had dragons. And so there's just something about Zelda, especially the art direction to me is a heck of a lot better. Because Horizon Zero Dawn tries to go for that, you know, push the PS4 itself to its limits. And so graphically, it looks fantastic and beautiful and graphically, it does look a lot better than Zelda. But because Nintendo works with hardware that's way more underpowered than the base PS4 and Xbox One consoles are concerned, it almost forces them to go a different route. And it shows in a way that there's a lot more attention drawn to details and art direction.
All right. Yeah, that sounds really cool, actually. I wanted to ask you, since you've had some time away from Mario, do you still think, you know, Zelda deserves Game of the Year over Mario? I know it's a kind of a really big jump going from Horizon Dawn and Zelda, but I'm just curious because both those games are similar. I could see both Horizon Dawn and Zelda being contenders for Game of the Year. And now, you know, I just kind of want to know, since you've had time and you've let your feelings about Mario sink in more, where does that stand for Game of the Year this year?
That's a really good question. I'm going to have to go with Zelda because it's not the same Zelda we've had in years past. Whereas Mario Odyssey has been, I think I've said it before on the show, where Mario Odyssey is basically it's a perfection of the formula that Nintendo's been trying to perfect the past 20 years. Okay. That's not to say Mario Odyssey isn't a fantastic game, because I do think Super Mario Odyssey is the best 3D Mario we have had ever. And that's saying a lot. And there's a lot of sequences and homages to past Mario games and a lot of surprises as far as the story is concerned and what you can do with the game and how it encourages you to keep playing after you're done with it, things like that. But there's something about Zelda I had way more fun exploring, because I like exploring in games.
Yeah,
Mario, there's a lot to explore. Mario Odyssey has exploration, but when you think about it and with the amount of work and detail that has gone into Zelda, is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I just beat my third Guardian and just got the Master Sword.
Oh, so you did find it, because I know one time you said you didn't have it, you didn't know where it was. So I'm glad you found it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, the game, it gets better and better as it goes on, and I don't want it to end. I've been taking my sweet old time with it, and it's just, I don't know. It's so good.
I would highly recommend. Yeah,
So
just take
good.
your time with it and just have fun with it. That's exactly what I did with it, and I think that's a reason why Zelda deserves to be Game of the Year, because you don't want the experience to end.
Right. Right. Did you do a lot of side quests through Zelda?
Yes, and I still have
Okay.
a bunch unfinished.
I feel like I've done less than a dozen side quests, and I'm just plowing through the story mode, like the actual story quest, the main
Yeah,
quest.
I could see that, because side quests aren't as, because look, a lot of games, like for example, Horizon Zero Dawn, if there's a side quest, I know immediately where it is, and that in fact it is a side quest, and then I could finish it in the vicinity of where I am. Zelda does it in a very different way. It's not going to tell you where a side quest is. You just have to talk to everybody or explore things. And eventually you just catch on to things. Like someone will give you a hint like, hey, I heard this. And you're just like, I don't even know what the crap that means. But eventually, once you play through the game and you're exploring and stuff, you end up figuring some things out as if it's a puzzle of some sort. Or, there are simpler quests as well where someone says, this town did this or whatever. And, it makes you want to explore the world more because Zelda does it so differently.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. The world is gorgeous. I mean, each environment and everything is just, it's beautiful. And I still think that I'm feeling it might be my game of the year. As far as AAAs go.
Yeah, agreed. Me too. There are a lot of other games out there that people seem to enjoy. I haven't even touched yet, but Zelda to me at the moment, and I probably won't be able to get a chance to touch said games this year, by the end of this year, since it's December already. But out of the games I've played, Zelda will probably have to be my AAA title game of the year.
Yeah. Well, cool. So I'm getting from your feelings that Zelda and Horizon Dawn are still neck and neck with each other.
Yes. I can't say for certainty that Horizon or Zelda is better than the other right now, because I finished Zelda long ago and I just started playing Horizon, so I can't even say like, oh yeah, Zelda's clearly the better game. So it'll probably be a while before I finish that.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, it's definitely cool getting your thoughts between the two games.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too that I find interesting is that a lot of people who have played one or the other have not played the other. I was just so happened out at Black Friday and saw the price of PS4s and decided to pick it up because it was so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got my PS4 cheaper than what my dad has his PS4, and my PS4 has more internal memory than his, so I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, I bet you he's happy about that.
Oh yeah, he's like, why didn't you pick me up one? I'm like, I don't know, you had one already.
Come on, man.
And if I
only brought you into this world.
And honestly, if I could have found a PS4 Pro during Black Friday, I probably would have bought that, because those were like $300 or $350 on Black Friday.
Oh, that's such a steal.
Yeah, exactly. But everywhere I went, they didn't have them in stock. So, oh well.
Yeah. Well, cool topic. I'm thinking for the next episode we do, I think it might be the last one that we release this year.
I think you're right.
It'll be close.
It'll be close.
Unless we release one like right on the 31st. But we are going to discuss games of the year, Hello Neighbor, and I'd like to do the NPC game again if we get everybody on here. And then possibly maybe like failures of the year or something. Just kind of a recap over 2017 and what we thought were the best games, and maybe some games that weren't that good.
All right, that sounds good to me. Just a huge shout out. Cody was supposed to be on here today, but he had to back out at the last minute due to personal reasons. And Andrew is still working like a dog farming, and plus his wife, who is also my sister, is not feeling very good right now. So she's been going to a lot of doctor's appointments and such like that. So, which is why he is not here with us today.
Well, we hope everything's all
exactly.
right.
Nothing serious so far. So, but
That's good.
She's not dying, so she's still alive.
That's good. Yeah,
It's not
that's
that bad, but it's reasons enough to not be on the show.
Yeah, most certain. And hopefully we'll get everyone back on the next episode. Other than that, we do have a cool surprise coming out this week.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say this has been long in the making for at least the past probably 3-4 months. So our friends over at Gamerheads Podcast, specifically their lead host, Roger, we have been trying to work out a show that we could do together. Yeah, a side show, so to speak, a side project between our two podcasts. Roger and I recorded an episode about, I'd say 2 weeks ago. The name of the show itself is called Crossplay Compatible, where we go over games that have an impact on gaming history or ones that we feel like we have a connection ourselves to. And we talk about the game themselves, what kind of impact and they have had on not just us as gamers, but as our society in general. So just a quick preview of the episode 1. We talk about Super Mario Brothers 2, and there are a lot of characters and gaming philosophies and just things that were in that game that have carried over into every single Mario game since then. But Super Mario 2 does not seem to get the love that it deserves. So that's just a quick preview
Sounds
of
awesome.
what the first episode is going to be about. Roger said he should have it done by tonight, so it should be out sometime this week. So we're going to try and do it. We're going to try and do it every week, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crossplay compatible. Also, as I've mentioned before, we're friends with Gamerheads Podcast. Kyle, you and I had the pleasure to record an episode with them the other day. And so if you're listening to us and you're fans of us and our show, please search for Gamerheads Podcast on any podcasting platform that you're listening to us on. Guaranteed you will find them as well. Their content is fantastic. They're another, obviously they're another gaming show, but they're fun. They're hilarious. And they're just a lot of fun to deal with. And we could not talk any greater about those guys. So please head on over and check them out, subscribe to them, and show your support to them.
Yeah, for sure. We will be on their most recent episode, which I think is 29.
Yes, that's correct. So episode 29 is the show that we are on. It's still on the chopping block, so to speak. So, but it should be out sometime this week.
Yep. And we want to give thanks to our Patreons. If you want to join the list, you can go to Real Dudes Podcast and click the Patreon link there. And then also, if you want to follow us on Twitter at RealDudes_pod, Instagram, Real Dudes Podcast, Facebook, Real Dudes Podcast, and our website, you can check out our episodes on there as well. Or if you listen on iTunes, Podbean, or any other podcasting site, you can find us at Real Dudes Podcast. Excuse me. And the big thing that I wanted to mention, that I know you probably wanted to mention too, Karrington, is merch.
Oh, yeah. So we do have merch on our website. Head on over to realdudespodcast.com/merchandise, where you can buy all kinds of things such as hoodies, shirts, aprons, mugs, water bottles, wristbands. They're all there on the website, realdudespodcast.com/merch. And I must apologize to our audience because we have had the store up and running since probably about August. So it is specifically my fault for not mentioning it, because I'm the one who set it up and have been working on it. So yeah, you can buy merchandise. And if you do buy some merchandise from us, don't hesitate to message us, DM us, tag us in photos or whatever, and we will make sure you are up on our website, on our social media, and give you a nice shout out, because we enjoy our fans wearing our merch, obviously, because we are just excited about it as you are.
I couldn't have said that any better.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, that sounds, I think we mentioned everything today that I wanted to mention and put out into the world for our listeners to hear.
Cool. Other than that, if you guys have any questions for us, or you want any questions answered on the podcast, you can send them to us at podcast@realdudespodcast.com.
Yep.
And then, other than that, we hope you, the listener, have a rad week.